everybody, back again with another quick yoga flow. This time it'll be kind of a full body, gentle stretch to kind of just really stretch out the body in a very yin and relaxing way. I just came back from a week of Disney, and then after coming back from Disney, or while I was in Disney, I ended up getting sick with some kind of cold, flu, bug, something. So it has been quite some time since I've stretched, and oh, my body is really feeling it. So let's see what we can do to loosen things up, okay? All right. So we're gonna start with doing just a few sun salutations in order to kind of get the blood flowing. So I do variations of sun salutations to kind of stretch and twist various areas of the body, so a little bit different than a traditional sun salutation. So we'll start in Namaste. Breathe your hands up, stretch up, look up, and bend back, and come down and reach for your toes, forehead to knees if you can do it. Come up into a flat back. Then we're gonna come into a lunge. So your right leg is gonna go back, left leg forward, push your chest forward, take your left leg back, and come into knees, chest, and chin. So you're gonna have your butt up a little bit there. We're gonna pull through and go to Cobra Pose, nice and gentle. And then lift up, lift the hips up into the downward facing dog. Deep breaths in. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're gonna bring left leg forward, keep your right leg back, and stretch. Bring the right leg up to meet the left, fold forward, forehead to knees. And then come all the way up. Then look up towards your hands and bend slightly back. Bring your hands to the center, to prayer position. Take a deep breath in between sun salutations. Deep breath in, arms up, look up, bend backwards. And we're gonna fold your feet forehead to knees. You can do it, or as close as you can if you can't. Come up onto the fingertips. You can bend your knees if you need to so that you achieve that flat back. And then we're going to step the left foot forward into a lunge, right leg back. You might be coming at that at a different angle, and that's okay. Plant your right hand down, twist your left arm up to the sky, twist open. Bring your hand back down, the left leg back, into that knees, chest, and chin. Slide forward into a cobra. Look up and breathe. Exhale, hips to the sky for downward dog. Couple of nice deep breaths in here. Your right leg forward, keep your left leg back, left hand to the ground, right arm rotates up and twist. Nice deep breath there in 2. Bring your right arm down, and left leg reaches up to meet the right. Flat back once again. You can also have your hands on your shins if you need to. And then we're gonna come up. Arms up, look up, and bend slightly back. Bring your hands down to prayer position, namaste. Deep breath in and down. We're gonna do it one more time. So arms up, look up, bend backwards. Then bring your hands down to meet your feet, forehead to knees, or as close to it as you can get. Go up into that flat back. So you're either on the floor here or up here. You could also bend your knees, whatever you need to do to get that flat back. And then let's take our right leg back, Left leg up, and we're gonna drop that right knee. So if you have problems with your knees and it being a hard surface, you can always just flip the edge of your mat up, and that gives you a little bit of extra cushion there if you need it, depending on the floor, right? Arms up and breathe. Now it seems kind of contradictory, but you really kind of want to bring your hips together, right? Kind of got to squeeze the hips in as you do this. Bring your arms up, look up, and we're just gonna sit here and breathe for a minute. You can fold your arms back behind your head, stretch the chest up a little bit more, and hands to other side of your left foot, and take your left foot back to meet your right. We're gonna do a full chaturanga this time. So plank all the way down, keep your elbows back, then slide through, go to upward dog or cobra pose. Hips to the sky, or downward facing dog. Lift deep breaths here. Try to rotate your sit bones up to the sky. You can pedal back and forth between the legs. And bring that right leg up. Drop the left knee. Again, you can roll that mat under if you need that extra cushion. Otherwise, arms up and look up. Again, you're squeezing the hips together as you open the hips, which sounds a little contradictory, but it works out well. You can clasp your hands, bend your elbows, and open your chest to the sky. All right. Now lift up that left knee, bring the left foot up to meet the right, and fold. Forehead to knees if you can get there, or as close as you can if you can't. Arms up, look up, and hands down into Namaste prayer position. Big deep breath. Usually those sun salutations really get your juices flowing, which is nice. Now we're gonna come down and do some cat and cow. So you're gonna have your both knees on the ground, both hands on the ground, and we're gonna do some cat and cow. So open your chest, look up, and fold the other way. So now you're pushing your shoulders down, pushing your arms down, pushing the hips down so that that back really arches. And again, bring your chest through, open it up to the sky, lift your hips, and push the ground away with your hands and your knees, and really curve that back. So one more time. Chest through, open up, look up to the sky, and then push the ground away with your hands, your knees, and your feet. Really arch that back. Okay, now we're gonna come into a puppy position, which is the little sibling position of the downward facing dog. It's one of my favorite positions because it's a position you can really relax into. It's a great yin position. It also really opens up the upper back and the shoulders. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come onto your knees, kind of similar to the cat and cow. But instead of having our hands here, we're gonna reach them forward. Right, reach them all the way forward. And you really wanna have your chest melting or trying to hit the ground, also with your forehead, right? So it's a little bit different stretch when you go for a chest centered position where you're melting the chest down versus one where you're resting your forehead. So play around with it, see which one feels better to you, and we're just gonna stay here for a few breaths, okay? come up, bring our butts to the ground until we're setting in a butterfly pose. You know, butterfly is a really gentle, nice position to really open the hips in. So you're just gonna start flapping your wings. Flap, 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 flap. Like as long as you really want. Honestly, this is a great position. The jostling in this hip area and the joint area is gonna help you loosen up the tendons, the muscles, the ligaments, all of that. So it's good to do for a couple of minutes. Probably not gonna do it this long in this video, but you can always pause here and really work on the flapping of your wings, as it were. And you can get it like really big, or you could do it small, whatever you feel like, particularly that day. So after we've done this for about a minute or so, we're going to fold forward. And I really want you to focus on hinging from the hips. So you don't want to do like this bend with your back. I'm going to show you from this side. You don't want to do this, right? You really want to focus on having the straight back and trying to keep that and hinging more from the hips. So a lot of times I like to hold on to my feet and really just focus on keeping my back as straight as I can while also folding. Now you can take your arms forward if you want. You really just kind of want to focus on keeping that back as straight as possible. You can come down like this, but it's a little bit more of a strain on the lower back, and we're really trying to open the hips up rather than actually stretching the back. That's where a majority of people's back pain comes from, I would say, in my experience, is from the hips rather than from the back muscles themselves. So you're really just focusing on hinging from the hip. Try to keep the rest straight and everything upright. So let's pull our butt cheeks out if we need to and fold from the hips. And if you're really tight, you could be up here, and that's great. That's perfect wherever you are. If you're really flexible, you might be on the floor right now, and also that's fantastic. So we're just gonna breathe for a minute. A couple deep breaths in and out, and really focus on the hip area. So then we're gonna bring our left leg forward, just straight on the ground. We're bending our right leg in. And we're taking our arms up, and we're gonna fold right over this left leg. Again, you wanna keep your back straight. You don't wanna do this. That's not the greatest for the back. So you're really working on, once again, hinging from that hip, right? And you can use, if you can reach, you can use your foot to kind of pull yourself a little bit more. If you don't, you can't reach there, you can grab a belt, a hand towel, a t-shirt, whatever you got laying around. It all works. Okay. Now we're gonna put our left hand on our right knee, and right arm goes behind us, right behind your hip there, and we're gonna twist. You're gonna keep it nice and tall through the spine though, as we twist. Use some foot rotations, there's a bonus in there as well. Okay, now we're gonna plant our right hand behind us, kind of right behind the hip there. And we're gonna go into something called the stargazer pose. So you're gonna come up onto the side of your leg on the right side, the ball of your left foot. Bring your left arm over and stretch it out, really reach there. I'll show you guys from the side. So right arm goes behind and come up and reach. You can kind of turn this way a little bit if you like. Ooh. And what I like to do after you come out of that stargazer pose is to once again fold forward over the left leg. Now with this side, you're going to come a little bit more into the medial ledge of your leg, right? So you're probably going to feel the stretch much more on this inner thigh area than you did the full forward fold that we just did a minute or two ago. And reach over the left leg if you can, or get down as far as you can go. Either wherever you end up is just perfect. All right, and we're gonna switch sides. So now we're gonna fold our left foot in, stretch our right foot out in front of us, arms up, you look up and fold over that right leg. Again, you can grab your foot, you could use a belt, a t-shirt, a hand towel, whatever you happen to have laying around. And we're just gonna fold for a few minutes, working on hinging from that hip area. One side might feel very different than the other side, and that is just fine. The body has these really interesting ways of trying to even itself out, trying to balance itself. And so sometimes that means that one side of your body is doing a whole lot more work than the other side, and so you might feel very tight on one side versus the other. And we can always thank that side of the body for taking on more than its fair share of work as we stretch it and send some nice calming breaths into that area. Okay, we're going to take our right hand to our left knee, left hand behind us, behind the hip area, and we're going to twist. Nice deep twist, but focus on keeping the spine straight. Got a nice little pop there. So now we're going to go into the stargazer pose. Remember, this left hand is right behind your hip, and you're going to come up onto the outer edge of your left foot and the ball of your right foot. So here we go. And reach up and over. Let me show you from the side once again. Left hand on towards the back and push our hips up. Right, and then we're going to do one more fold. We're going for the more of the inside edge here. So you can grab either the inside of your foot, the outside of your foot, inside of your thigh, the outside, wherever you are. And we're going to fold once again, but focus more on the inner edge of the thigh there, the more medial edge of our thigh. Probably going to feel a lot more side body stretch in this version, where you're kind of coming to the side and really focusing on the medial edge of the leg there. So it's kind of interesting to play around with different forward folds. Coming this way, you're going to get much more leg and hip. Coming this way, you're going to get a lot more side body, as well as medial edge, side of the head, or side of the legs there, the hip flexors. Okay, so I think we're feeling pretty good. I think we need to go into some tabletop position. I'll show you from the side. Bend your knees, point your toes to wherever you're facing forward at, and plant your hands and face those forward as well. And then we're going to come up into a nice tabletop. Now this is pretty intense for most people, and for me right now, since I haven't done much yoga in the last week or two, you probably feel it very intensely up into the pec and the shoulder, as well as the neck muscles. We're just going to hold it here. A couple of deep breaths as we work on opening our chest to the sky. Bring your hips down. And we're gonna hug our hips in and just do a really basic twist. So bring your right arm in front of both of your legs, take your left hand back, give it a nice twist. We'll do the other side. And twist. Hold it for a minute or two. Okay. So we're going to do two more poses. One is a fish pose, which is one of my favorite poses. I have a lot of neck and shoulder issues, and tabletop and fish pose are probably my two favorite poses for the neck and shoulder area. So we're going to finish off with that, and then we're going to go into a twist, and then hopefully a few minutes of Savasana, which is honestly my favorite part of yoga. Is you get to the end and you're like tired and sweaty, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can just lay on the ground and try not to think of anything for 5 minutes. It really became a huge deal once I became a mother, and then I was like, hey, this is nice. I can do this. So let's go into a fish pose. If you haven't done one before, it can be a little challenging to get into. And what you're gonna do though, I'm gonna do it from the side so that you can see a little bit better. You're gonna come down kind of like you were doing the tabletop, right? Except you're gonna come down all the way onto the ground. Just like this. Now, you can leave your feet up, you can also take them down. What you're gonna do though, is you're gonna take both of your hands, and you're gonna set on them, right? Just set on them. I like to try to push them down as far as I can go. Like my hand is past my butt, but depending on your level of flexibility and the length of your arms, your mileage may vary there. So you're just setting on your hands, just like you used to have to if you got in a lot of trouble, right? So you're gonna wiggle your elbows underneath, right? So you're really pushed up on your elbows. And then you're just gonna take your head back. You don't wanna bear any weight on your head. That's not the purpose of it. The head can touch the floor, but there should be no weight on the head when you do this. So just bring your head back, push your chest to the sky, and really just hang out here. I like to bend my knees a little bit. It gives me a bit more steady base. And just breathe. When you come up, just come down off your elbows and scoot your arms to the side. Easy peasy. So now we're going to take our knees to our chest. We're going to rock for just a moment. Then we're going to keep our knees together, but send them to the left side. Your right arm should go out, kind of like in a T, and your head wants to be looking in the same direction as your knees. So you're going to turn your head to the left. Bring your knees back up to center. You can give them another hug if you want. And take your knees to the right side. Again, you might notice one side being a lot more flexible than the other side. That is just fine. There's no, I would say that's a very common state of the body. All right, now bring your knees back to center. And ideally, you'll want to lay down and do a few minutes of Savasana, corpse pose. I think it's the easiest, well, I personally think it's the easiest pose in yoga, but I can see people who are not great at sitting with themselves or doing meditation probably wouldn't like it as much, but it's just a few minutes. I promise it has so much value to you to just sit and allow your body to absorb the differences and changes that you've made in this short 20-25 minute video. So hopefully you join me for your corpse pose, Savasana. You just lay down. You can have your arms out a little bit, your legs out a little bit, wherever it's comfortable for you to rest for a few minutes. And I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and do some very deep breathing, right? It doesn't have to be counted, you don't have to do box breath, you don't have to do any of that, just some deep, deep belly breaths where you're really feeling that belly as well as that chest rise on each inhale and fall on each exhale. And don't worry about the stress, the day. I like to think of thoughts and those stresses as being clouds that pass me by during meditation or savasana. Just little clouds that pass by on the wind. I see them and I can acknowledge them, but I don't hold on to them, right? We can't hold on to clouds. It doesn't work. So if you see any negative thoughts or feelings come up, just acknowledge them and allow them to pass, right? That's what they're supposed to do anyways. We're not supposed to keep holding on to these things. We're just supposed to acknowledge them, do what we can about them, and allow them to move on. A couple more deep belly breaths. And just let go. Let go of all the stress and tension that you might be holding. Maybe your day has started off rough. Maybe you're just having a rough week, a rough month, a rough year. Whatever the case might be. Just let it go now. It doesn't serve you any purpose on this mat. And for the next 2 to 3 minutes, I just want you to focus on that breath and any changes you might notice in your body. You might notice more blood flow in your body. And when you're done with that, roll over onto your side. You can go ahead and come on up and begin the rest of your day. Thanks. I'll see you next time.